Okay, so I still see some people joining, but I think we can start at least with the short introduction here. Thank you very much for joining the call today. And my name is Ronny Bröker. I will speak today a little bit about the changes in the Direct CSP program, which is kind of important for everybody who is direct and the Direct CSP program right now. And I have prepared some slides about that. I have wrote already in the webinar description what it will be. Maybe let's start with some housekeeping. This webinar will be recorded, so everybody will get the recording afterwards so that you can see everything of that. Also the slide deck we will provide, so you don't have to make notes today. If you have any questions, then you can ask them through this question panel here in the system, or you can also ask us using Twitter, using the hashtag #vadis_direct_CSP, and we will answer that then also public. The webinar will be around 55 minutes long, including question and answers, and I think we can start right now. Ronny, that's me, and I'm part here in AppXite in the leadership team, responsible for the channel. We are working with, we are a multi-tier CSP ourselves, so we are direct, indirect, and distributor. So having an insight very good about the different programs. Me personally, I'm working since 4 years only with CSP, and working all the 4 years closely with Microsoft to get the latest information. I'm of course following the discussion in different boards about that topic. They got a little bit more hot these days. We were actually informed about the changes roughly already end of last year, that Microsoft told that there will be a change, that the Direct CSP status is maybe not what they plan to be. Now the latest changes in detail we got some weeks ago, so we decided to prepare some more information about it, because well, there are some things very clear, outspoken, some things you have to read between the lines. So my goal today for this talk is that I explain you our point of view, give you the facts, and also try to read together with you a little bit between the lines, so that you know what might these changes might mean for you here. So let's come directly to the changes itself. You might have gotten the information via mail or Partner Center. Microsoft is sending it out these days. If not, let's go through fast. The changes are active starting from 31st of August, and there are relatively many changes in the Yammer group. Is it only for new ones, or is it actually also for existing ones? It's very clear it's for all partners, so all Direct CSP will be affected. Microsoft calls it re-enrollment then for the direct ones, so it doesn't affect only new signing up partners. Of course, these ones will have to fulfill the requirements straight away, but also the Direct CSP who are already Direct CSP will have to do the changes latest then on the 31st of August, in 2018. The topics Microsoft pointed out were 3. I split it into 4 groups. The first group is automation. They have put that together with services, but I think it's a different point. It's the minimum infrastructure capabilities you should have to do billing, credit check, customer support. So in essence, what they say is you need a portal. And that is also clear. There are many things which you can't do without. If you have to log into the partner centers all the time of your customers and have to do things manual, you simply can't scale, and that is not the goal. And the services, that is in essence not changed. So we have all the time got the information as a Direct CSP and any other CSP. You should have managed services on top of Microsoft. There should be intellectual property, some kind of solution on top of the Microsoft offering. So not so much new here, but of course in the past you get through with the planning to have. Now you have to show at least one, but I think majority of you have developed there something what you could show. So that might be not the most urgent point right now. What is an obvious one and maybe the strongest and the first side is the support. Microsoft measured and found out, okay, many direct CSP are using the Microsoft support for that, but usually as a direct CSP, you are responsible for support yourself. And that means that from now on, from the 31st, if you are right now a direct CSP, you will have to purchase the advanced supports for partners from Microsoft. There's a price tag behind. I will come on that. So here there will be no exception. I haven't heard any plans on giving exceptions to people who might have spinned up a support organization. They will just do that for every direct partner. And last but not least, the performance. Many people read over that, but I think that is even the most important part if you read between the lines. So what Microsoft says is they will assess partners based on performance and customer success index. You all, when you signed up, made a check mark on how much revenue you will generate, etc. But I will show you some details which might be interesting to consider when we go on that point. So to sum it up, Microsoft says, well, if you want to invest in infrastructure and backend support, then you might be a really good direct partner. If your investment should be more in front-end services, then maybe the indirect is the better way to do. That is said pretty easy and clear, but I think we should still watch a little bit in detail on the different topics. I will keep away or take out the services since that is the obvious one, but the other one, let's have a little more detailed look. Just on the numbers, the last year numbers, I think in end of year last year, Microsoft had more than 5,000 direct CSP worldwide. The initial plans were to have 1,000. And so now the target is clear. They should get back to the number where they have been, considering that many huge partners haven't even started to go direct CSP. So there should be some space if I want to have 1,000. So that's why we predict that 80% of the partners will be better off in the indirect model because they might have issues to fulfill the requirements Microsoft set for direct CSP. Let's go through piece by piece. The automation piece, as I said, we are talking here more or less about a portal. Your customers have to buy offerings. You have to automate the provisioning there. The invoices have to be calculated. Nobody should deal manually with reconciliation files and set up the invoices there, and also the billing should be automated. Not talking about things like credit check, etc. So if you are a direct CSP, then you are responsible for that. And the only way how you can do that is to either develop an own marketplace or use one which is offered in the market. And there you have, of course, different possibilities. There are different solutions out in the market. I have listed just some. There are the obvious ones. AppDirect, you most likely know. They are offering a marketplace for a direct CSP, for example, or Interworks also goes out with a marketplace for distributors, but also for direct CSP. And then Ingram announced the new version of their Odin platform, Cloud Blue, for especially large direct CSP. The main target group here is telecommunication providers, etc., which also indicates the price tag which is actually behind. And then there are some maybe not so obvious one, Zuora, Recurly, which have subscription-based, which support subscription-based businesses, which is nothing else than CSP. So these are the ones you can actually buy or subscribe for. So you have to pay for that either once or every month to use that services. And then there are offerings like actually ourselves. Some of you work even with us in the direct model. We are offering our marketplace also to direct CSP so that they can use it with a revenue split model. And still, it's a cost you have to take to be able to fulfill the requirements of Microsoft, either direct costs or then revenue split indirect cost you have to have. And that is something which you have to consider. Are you willing to develop one or buying one if you don't have one right now? And so that has to go in the calculation if you want to fulfill the requirements. Then Microsoft will have a look on that. Are you able to automate these things And so that is the first point. The support is straightforward, very direct. Microsoft says, well, you have to mandatory purchase the support agreement for partners, advanced support. That's a partner-to-partner support. It has a price tag. It comes for 15,000 euros per year that every direct partner from now on will have to purchase. If you want to have end user support or even more straightforward SLA, then you will have to go to premium support, which has a way higher price tag here. So that is a support option. Well, as I said, it doesn't matter really if you have built up your own support case. If you never raised a support case in the past, apparently the average partner does a lot. And so Microsoft wants to ensure here that this effort is somehow paid in that. And now we come to the performance. As I said, it's actually a little bit tricky to have to read a little bit between the lines. And I was researching a lot to get some more detailed information, because we will assess your performance, and your customer success index doesn't say so much in the first step. If you are digging a little bit in the different announcements, you will find, well, we are monitoring annual performance to see if you hit the requirements that are demonstrating steady business growth. And on the other hand, they say there are right now no dedicated specific performance goals right now, but they keep it in mind to implement them in future. And that is, I would say, a hint. Let's see what happens, how the direct model grows. Otherwise, we will put some numbers up to make sure that only the top performing CSP are staying direct. The reason for that, I mean, Microsoft is managing those partners also direct, so there has to be resources who take care about this on a daily basis. And if you have 5 times more than you have calculated, then you cannot really good manage those partners. On top of that, out of our experience, between 40 and 50% of the direct CSPs are not transacting at all, but still have to be managed. So that effort couldn't be carried anymore. And so that's why that move. Then there was another statement I found, which some of you should have a look on, that according to realistic plans, direct CSP should have at least 6-figure sales from the first year onwards. So if you have the CSP status already since a year, and the revenue says less than 100,000, then that might be an issue, and your partner manager might approach you regarding that next time when he gets asked why you are a direct CSP and what are your plans on that. So they give you a hint which their direction goes. 6 figures would be good. They don't say 100 or 900, but it shows also, and they are very clear on that they will measure not only your success as a company, but really the success in CSP, your customers there. So that is something you should have on the agenda if you are planning your business on CSP. That will raise definitely hard questions if you are negotiating your status with Microsoft. Well, and then if you are reading all this and watching on it, you might have done your decision on going direct some years ago based on maybe just because direct sounds better than indirect. I would have done that. Why I should buy through somebody if I can do it direct? Maybe you had in mind there might be better margins or better incentives, or you might have choosing the status to be direct Microsoft partner for marketing purposes, or maybe you expected from Microsoft also some fundings or other kind of supports if it comes to, for example, marketing activities. And that is now something you have to rethink. Did that happen? Did that pay off? Because if the alternative which Microsoft gives is, of course, well, you can go indirect, right? So Microsoft statement is here: partners who are unable or not prefer to fulfill these requirements right now, well, they of course can go indirect, and they might be even better off with that, because many of those requirements are by the indirect providers or distributors, which might be useful for you there. So that's why I have prepared here a little comparison between the direct and indirect model, just to show you where is actually the difference between direct and indirect, and maybe is that an option, so where you could start your benchmarking if you feel that the requirements could hit you and you might be not in this 10% which are belonging into this direct approach. The graphic here, you know all, so direct providers buy directly from Microsoft, sell to customers, and the indirect model, there would be an indirect provider you would be buying from. So I have been up here the, let's say, most important topics, and to show you, is there a difference, and if yes, which one? Let's start from the start. So the support is something where I would say that's not super equal. In the direct model, you have to have this support by yourself. If you want to have a partner-to-partner support, you will have to pay for it. And in the indirect model, you still, of course, are the first person your customer will ask, so you are still responsible somehow for support, but many of the distributors will have offerings for you to help you to deliver that. And that can start by partner-to-partner support and can end in premium support. The models are, of course, very different, but however, you are never alone on that, so that's what a distributor is there for, to help you on the support option. The price tag, the quality, and even the offerings might be, of course, completely different. I can relate to us, so a partner-to-partner support in our case is part of the deal, so we don't charge for that. So in this case, there's support not really equal in direct and indirect, since from now on you still have to deliver it yourself if you want to have Microsoft helping you 15,000 euros a year. So there's actually a difference, but from the point of view, I guess a little advantage for the indirect model. The incentives, if you watch on that, they are absolutely the same. An indirect CSP gets absolutely the same incentives as the direct CSP. So that is absolutely equal from the numbers. And the margin is now, again, a tricky part. You have to watch from different angles on that. If you're watching on this model here, then it would be obvious you are buying directly from Microsoft and selling then to the customer. Here are two people in the chain. So if the prices are the same, and they are, an indirect provider buys exactly for the same money you are buying right now as a direct, then usually the reseller should have a smaller margin than a direct provider. And that, of course, is very often like this. Many distributors, of course, take margins. So if you have a 15% margin on the product, the indirect provider has to decide, will I give away 10% and keep 5%, or will I do it different? But there are also indirect providers like us. We decided a different strategy. So we are giving away the full margin. So you will have exactly the same in price than you have now as a direct provider. And so margin-wise, you are exactly the same here with us. There might be others who do the same strategy. So if you are considering going indirect and watching for a distributor, then that is, of course, something you have to compare with each other. Some things what many people don't think about is that, of course, we indirect provider companies like us, we have a very strong interest in you growing and providing business, because that is what we are also earning our money on. We have our own incentive model, so indirect provider gets a different incentive, and some of the distributors and us also are using the incentives, of course, also to help to invest that indirect providers can build a business faster or stronger or more wide. So you will find incentive models from the distributor on top of actually the incentive model which comes from Microsoft, which would put you even in a better place than a direct CSP is, because there you are more or less for yourself. And in the sales, that is exactly the same picture. In the direct model, you are for yourself. So if you are purchasing a portal or renting a portal, they will give you most likely some ISV solutions on top of it. But these are randomly onboarded ISVs, which might not fit necessarily to your needs. If you are selling right now software solution and you want to sell that, then in the direct model, you have to find a way how to get those on the portal. You have to negotiate the deals with these ISVs, and you have to spin up sales and marketing for that completely yourself. With the right partner, and I can again only relate to us, we are supporting partners on that. First of all, of course, we are also bringing SaaS solutions, which we choose for our partners. We have built, for example, already a very strong education alliance, so ISVs, which are all wrapping around the education topic, so that partners who are in that vertical can actually build their portfolio on that perfect. But we can also bring your own ISVs, and we encourage you, because if your sales organization is already trained to sell this kind of ISVs and solutions, then it would be, of course, only logical that they are part of your offering in the digital sector. If you bring that on top of it, we can use the incentives we are earning to support that motion. So we are helping partners in building digital marketing and also sales strategies, and even helping to execute them. So that is something what, of course, again, not every indirect provider does, but if you find the right one who has a good offering on that, that might bring you a much more bigger advantage that you are not selling just for yourself. And so this is just a short overview. As I said, indirect providers are, of course, different country by country, region by region. If you are considering to have at least a look on the indirect model, then you would have the task to go through these models and find out what the different providers are actually bringing you. Is it just a contract you can buy from me? I will take some margin off, and that's it. You are again for yourself. Well, then you are not really better than you are right now, just that you lost some margin. But the smarter reseller, smarter providers outside there will help you to grow and will provide you real value and fill the gaps you might have in your organization to make you stronger, because that's just smart. In the end, as an indirect provider, we are very dependent on the success of our resellers. So that's why we are very interested in helping you there. Then what I prepared on the last slide is to show you a little bit how a model can look like, actually, no matter what is the status, but what we think every CSP should go through. And that is what we are calling the CSP journey. The background is that the way how customers are buying has changed in the last years drastically. In the start, if you have on-premise solution which have a pretty high price and they are one-time investment, well, customers are used to that account managers are coming by, or I get called up and then I get the information, somebody is presenting that for me. Well, that changes in the SaaS world. If I want to just buy an add-on for my SharePoint, I will not get 5 different sales guys in my meeting room and spend 5 hours of presenting time on that. So I level myself up on the internet, I research there, and I make my decision there. And then I are ready to buy there as well. Not, of course, for enterprise solutions, but there are many solutions out, the add-ons I mentioned, which are zero touch. So you have to have the capabilities to automate things like this, so that you are not putting your very expensive and rare sales resources on selling this kind of products, because you will spend the margin for the next 20 years on just one sale. So if you want to prepare for that, then I suggest that you go through a journey which we have defined here. And that is first to choose the right offerings around your own services. You provide right now services. You have, of course, Microsoft on the basement, but the question is what kind of house you want to build on top of it. So you have to choose very careful what offerings are there, how to bundle services, and how to connect that with a different kind of offerings out there. The next way would be, of course, to automate this. I told zero touch offerings, so you have to be ready for that. That includes, of course, also billing and provisioning. And so here we are mainly talking about the right portal, the right choice of platform, which helps you to have this now very individual catalog, which you have thought about, that you can actually bring that catalog into the digital world, and that can be sold either automatic, I mean zero touch, or with less touch. So there are different kind of ways on that. And how to do it would be the third step. How is the go-to-market? You have maybe salespeople who are trained very well on Microsoft solution, but they are not trained on every add-on and every additional solution. So there has to be a process how they can learn and how they can feel confident about the different solution. Because if you are bringing it out to the customer has a question, but your sales guy has no answers, he will feel uncomfortable, customer will feel bad, and in the end, there will be no success about that. So there should be a process, learning management system in place, and also support backing up your sales organization on that. And of course, there should be a way on what we really sell actually with sales resources. What is the price for a minimum price for a SKU that we will touch even with the human interaction? And what is it what we are actually enabling for zero touch? And last but not least, we are talking about then also making it happen. So then you need some digital marketing strategy, landing pages, some SEO efforts, and sales automation. Because many of other partners we are talking to, they think, well, the marketplace is the place where the customer buys, but I don't believe in that. I think the way where the customer is actually educating himself is where the customer wants to buy. And that is your website. So your website, you are preparing all the informations there. You have your customers there. You spend a lot of money and effort to get the customers there. So it would be just logical to that they also buy there. So what you would need here is a landing page where the customer not only can get all the information, but also buy at least solutions which are ready for zero touch buying. And this journey here I bring up for a reason. So we are, I think that is something what every CSP should go through to have a fully automated approach he can follow, and to digitalize the business here and the sales in the end. And that is also what we are doing with all our partners. We are offering this kind of journey, watching on the different steps, supporting, and reinvesting money, what would be our incentives to make you even more successful in other areas. So we would sit and together with your team to design the right offerings or suggest you those on a regular basis. We have, of course, the platform which can support all this automation. We have also for example, the CPQ APIs to connect your website with our marketplace so that the customer can buy on your website, but then the transaction would happen through the marketplace so that you have the automation for billing and provisioning in place, and that everything is a smooth experience for your customer, the smooth buying experience. So that is from how we are pulling things like this off, no matter which provider you choose or you still continue doing it yourself. These are things where I say, if you follow those kind of routes, you will be very good off on that. We will regularly inform on all news and on all things we see what CSPs will have to go through or CSPs should go up. And we can discuss it, of course. So if you say, well, I would like to have a more individual discussion on that topic, and there are several ways how we could actually have this discussion. One obvious version would be the Microsoft Inspire. We will have here theater sessions where we have small pieces about each and every topic, and we'll share much more content and insights, how we are also selling ourselves and how we see, for example, zero touch sales for SaaS solutions, how the sales department should be structured for this kind of challenges. So we will be at Inspire. We have our booth directly in the middle of the exhibition, so you will not miss us. We will send also some information about that, some booking links where you can pre-book a meeting with one of our people or directly with me. So keep an eye on that. The second one is CSP to go, our page for indirect resellers. But if you just want to benchmark a bit and see what is our offering for indirect, then that might be the place to go. You can get your demo environment for our marketplace to see how that would look like, and get all the information in case you are considering to use an indirect provider in future. And of course, you can always book a meeting with me, or on the page you will find also other contacts from our partner managers, so that you can discuss your individual case with us, and we can give you some ideas how we would do it. It's a discussion always worth to have, so that you can understand individually for you how would it go. Maybe you are very focused on dynamics. Of course, questions are how to migrate then customers from direct to indirect. If I would choose it, we have a way for that, and to go a forward way. What kind of solutions are you actually offering? All those kind of things we can discuss better in a one-to-one. So feel free to reach out for us and ask these kind of questions. Otherwise, on all our social media channels, you can just follow us. We are blowing out now also about this topic, more and more information. Microsoft will get more concrete, so we will get sharper also in interpreting that for you and giving you all the information which are maybe again standing between the lines. I think for today, I gave you the overview for now, and I hope that was valuable for you. Now would be the right time to ask some questions if there are some already popping up. I will change here to the question board and see what we have collected already. And you could type in whatever comes in your mind right now. So what I can say, the first one is the slide deck. Yeah, as I said, we will send that out together with the recording. So that's something what will be provided. Anything else? Give me a second. Sure. The question is if it's possible to actually have both status, so keeping the direct status and having the indirect next to. It is possible. We are multi-tier, so you can do that. It's of course also no, as I shortly mentioned, no problem to migrate customers. So they just have to, for the customer, it will be nearly invisible. So there's no data migration needed, etc. The tenant will be the same for the customer. If you want to keep both statuses in parallel, or at least for a while, that would be also no problem. We can assist you on that. We have some procedures for that. Sure. Here's a question for the transactional platform offer. We can send that out as well. If you want to have a look right away, CSP to go, and there's the platform right now. You can watch on it, but we will contact you then directly for giving you some more information on that. No problem. Okay. I don't see right now other questions coming in. So in this case, I will talk. If something comes in, I will still answer it. Otherwise, I thank you very much for today, and hope that you took something out of it. Give me feedback if you like, then just send me a short message somewhere if that was what you were expecting. And I hope to see you in one of our other sessions about other topics in the next weeks, or meet you in Expire. And then I will let you in the afternoon, evening, or morning, depending a bit on the timeline you're in right now, and wish you a successful week. Thank you very much.